Welcome to Faith and Freedom. For the next few minutes, we hope to inform, inspire, and encourage you as we discuss legal victories and challenges to your fundamental freedom and religious liberties. Faith and Freedom comes to you from Liberty Counsel, a civil liberties education and legal defense organization. Join us now as Matt Staver, founder and chairman of Liberty Counsel, explains the latest legal issues all across this country. In the courtrooms of America, Liberty Counsel is winning the battle for your constitutional freedom.
A tremendous victory for the natural family and for parents everywhere. I'm Matt Barber, Vice President of Liberty Counsel Action, with a very special guest on the phone today, a Liberty Counsel client by the name of Heather Lashley. And Heather, thank you so much for coming on the program with us today.
Thank you for having me.
Now, you have an interesting story and an interesting set of circumstances that were pretty scary for you. Now, Heather, you at one point in time were involved in the homosexual lifestyle. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Well, tell us a little bit about that, how you got involved in that lifestyle.
Well, I had initially made some new friends, and those friends had were in that lifestyle, and it was something that just kind of sort of happened. I had fallen kind of into it. I hate to say fallen into it, but it was a choice that I made later in life, probably mostly because of my own experiences and my own past, and both with my parents and my childhood and abuse and so on and so forth. And it was kind of like having a best friend that I just happened to live with. And so for me, it wasn't so much a sexual thing as it was having a non-committed relationship, that there really was no strings or ties.
Sure.
I didn't have to be married, anything at all like that.
Okay.
And so it just kind of happened.
Now, let me ask you this, Heather. Now, you were involved in a pretty serious lesbian relationship that you are no longer involved with, correct? You're now married to a man, Ryan. Is that right?
Yes, that is true.
Okay, so you've left homosexuality. Now, there are those who would say that someone like you, that you simply don't exist, that there's no such thing. You would have been identified as lesbian or gay, or that there's no such thing as a former homosexual or a former lesbian. But we know that that is not a reality, and here we are speaking to you right now. Now, let me ask you this. Now, you had a child within the context of this lesbian relationship, correct?
Yes. At 32, I had decided that I wanted to have a child. I had previously had a child when I was very young, and her father raised her. I did not raise her her whole entire life.
Okay.
I was a good mother, but very young.
Okay.
And at 32, I wanted to have a child, and I wanted more than anything to be the mother that I knew that I could be.
And that's your little daughter, 5-year-old JC, right?
Yes, that's right. Yes.
Okay.
I gave it very little thought as to what I was bringing her into,
Sure.
as far as the lifestyle I was bringing her into, and I also gave very little thought to the circumstances. It was one of I can't say I haven't ever done selfish things, but it was probably one of the most selfish things I've done.
Now, after you left that relationship and you got married, and your husband, Ryan, adopted JC, right?
He did. In 2011, December of 2011, we filed for him to adopt her, and in March of 2012, that adoption was granted.
Now, during all this time, your former partner was trying to get shared custody of your child. Is that correct?
That is true.
Okay, and unfortunately, we're seeing this happen more and more around the country, and a lot of folks who are trying to uninterested third parties, non-biologically related third parties, in these types of homosexual relationships are filing suits and trying to snatch custody away from the actual parent or at least have a shared custody, trying to really get outside of the reality of the construct, the design that God made for family and for marriage, male, female, and for families, for kids to be raised in an environment, as the studies show overwhelmingly, that is the most healthy and most productive and positive, and that is with a mother and a father, whether or not it's a biological parent or an adoptive parent, as in your case. But it got pretty scary there, didn't it? Where the court looked like it might this former partner of yours was actually trying to get full custody and have you thrown in jail. Her attorneys were, correct?
Yes. There was a visitation that she was allotted with JC, and we were having problems with the visitations, either things that JC was experiencing at the visitations or, traumas beyond that were, spilling over into our everyday life, into her everyday life. After a series of events that took place, we ultimately decided that it was in JC's best interest that we stop the visitations altogether.
Sure.
They filed for enforcement of that visitation, seeking that for every occurrence that the visitation was violated, that I be fined and placed in jail.
Wow. Wow. Now, here's the good news. Liberty Counsel has been representing you, and we have just recently, the judge has dismissed the case. And if there happens to be an appeal, which we're hoping there will not, but if there happens to be an appeal, Liberty Counsel will continue to represent you. So it's looking like little JC is going to be protected from this third party, this person. And the trauma that she was experiencing that unfortunately we're finding is all too common in these types of circumstances where the child is actually traumatized by these forced visitations with a non-parent that they're pretending is a parent. And so we've seen that happen. Yours is not the first case. Unfortunately, a lot of homosexual activist attorneys are even filing frivolous RICO lawsuits trying to intimidate clients and attorneys and people helping out in situations like this, absurd lawsuits. And so this is a very powerful homosexual activist lobby that we're up against. And so this is scary stuff. Now, I want to ask you this question. What would you say to somebody who is involved in a homosexual relationship that is thinking about through artificial insemination, or because there always has to be a third party involved, because obviously a man and a man or a woman and a woman can't have a child together. What would you say to someone thinking about, in a lesbian or gay relationship, thinking about bringing children into that dysfunctional environment?
I would say without a doubt to please stop and consider what the full aspect, the full effects that it will have on the child. Consider socially, not just today, but 5 years, 6 years down the road, whenever that child is in a social setting and maybe wants to have a sleepover or what have you. And because of society, not everyone is going to be open to having their children exposed to all types of alternative lifestyles. And to truly search yourself and not make a selfish decision. It truly impacts. There are things, emotions that take place that you may not be thinking about at the moment, but whenever that child actually comes into the world, there's possible resentment, as there was in my case. I actually resented there being another woman. I resented that.
Well, because she was having her JC call her mommy and stuff, right? Yes.
I had asked that that not happen, that she choose any other name other than mommy. But,
well, and that's because we know that she wasn't a mommy. And Heather, before we were about to run out of time here, but I want to thank you for being on the program with us today. And we're going to talk to you tomorrow, too, and continue our discussion. Thank you so much for coming on. We look forward to speaking with you tomorrow, Heather, as well.
Yes, thank you so much.
Okay, well, folks, this is what we're up against. This is what happens when you start tinkering with God's design for the natural family, for natural marriage. Children ultimately end up getting hurt. Children are in the crosshairs, as in a situation such as this with this precious little 5-year-old girl, JC, who was experiencing the trauma associated with these pretend familial environments that are not as God designed them. To learn more about Liberty Counsel, go to lc.org or give us a call, 800-671-1776. Stand with us as we stand for the family.
You have been listening to Faith and Freedom with Liberty Counsel. We hope that we have motivated you to stand up for your faith, family, and freedom. We can accomplish a lot when we work together. Get informed and get involved today. Sign up for our free monthly newsletter, The Liberator. We will send it out to you free of charge. Stay informed with our Liberty Alert email updates. Just click on the website at www.lc.org or call us at 1-800-671-1776. Tune in next time to learn more about your rights right here on Faith and Freedom.